Oh, sorry about that, folks. I somehow managed able to get my odd voice today, which I'll explain more about it whenever we get this started. So, hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? It is I am the one and only Ray the Flying Squirrel here, and I am back for some more yet again for the likes of the Mexi Toys videos. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Klonoa 2, Lunatea's Veil for the PlayStation 2. So, last time, I believe we've managed to tackle through 3 levels, which is Irish Arc, along with Mounts of Mari Mari, and also the longest level in the game so far, Maze of Memories, because obviously traversing through different rooms and all that stuff. So today for this episode in particular, and that is the fact that we're going to be heading over to the forms of Indecision Pass, and hopefully we're able to get ourselves our next element along the way. So hopefully, without further ado, let's get this thing to it, and yeah. I think that we might actually come across into a boss fight coming up, so yeah, I think that's what I was thinking about that prediction correctly, so it looks like Lolo was still upset after all that seeking the future from that mirror, from that, you know, maze of memories as far as I'm concerned. So this is it, the Bell of Indecision. Why the heck is this wicked old tree in a way? Excuse me for being a worth it? My, strangers are unusual in these parts. So, it appears that you are seeking the Bell of Indecision. The 5th bell is about to make its way into the world. We need the element to contain it. Contain it? Yo? What's so funny? Why do you wish to save the world? Huh? Why you have taken it upon yourselves to save the world? Aren't like you need a reason to save the world? Because we still need able to save the world after all. No, is that really true? The girl doesn't seem to think so. And she somehow gasped. Don't insult Lolo. I had no attention to. If you want the bell, however, you must first pass the test. And that will obviously be the boss fight, as you can see right here. Visitors are so rare. Now enjoy my hospitality. Uh-oh. Lolo. What are you doing, you dummy? Without ya, he can't use his ring. Yikes. So, you know what to do here. Basically, we need to be able to, well, deal with the boss fight, of course. But as you can tell, that, well, in order to be able to deal the damage on this particular boss fight is the fact that, even though it's kind of a fun boss fight, that basically we have to utilize the board in order to be able to actually just to deal on this boss, and basically that you have to go pass through those little specific dash rings, because the more you're able to dash a bit forward, then chances are you would able to get more boost until you're able to actually catch up to this particular egg boss. And after a while, and after when you're able to actually obtain some more boosts, while trying to avoid a lot of hazards ranging from icicle shards, along with the forms of well, some very weird little spiky stuff that he's trying to send out for. And basically, I think you have to do this like 3 times. Although, whenever we get onto the second phase of the fight, that we have to do something a little bit more differently, because, well, that was it for the first phase. But, before we get into that though, there's another cinematic, so... And then somehow the egg starts to hatch, and we finally revealed its boss itself. You're just gonna stand there? Well, I'm not qualified to save the world. Who cares about qualifications, you dummy? Look at him. He's not even from this world, but he's giving everything he's got to fight for Lunatea. You think he's trying so hard cause he wants to save the world? No, cause he's a simple fool who doesn't know any better, but he keeps on fighting cause all he knows is to keep on trying. And Lolo, you're just as bad a fool. At least you can do what it's keep trying. You calling me a fool? Was that supposed to comfort me? You're mad. Maybe, but I deserve it. Well, Klonoa, ever forgive me? I'd say helping him can't hurt. Right. Lolo, let's go. Yeah, I apologize for that particular dialogue mistakes here and there. I think it's pretty obvious that the reason why my voice is actually getting a little bit funny today, that is the fact that for some reason I just got myself my sore throat today. But hopefully I'll still be fine. It's just the fact that it's just a bit of a unlucky moment when it comes to likely trying to feel like good and everything. So here we go on to the second phase of the fight, where basically you do the exactly same thing, except in order able to deal the damage on this guy, is the fact that we have to use those enemies as projectiles and then just try to toss it back onto him. So yeah, pretty easy boss fight when you get the hang of it though, but yeah, I think ultimately speaking is the fact that the majority of the boss fights are still really easy, just like in the original game, in addition to Empire of Dreams for sure. But what if we get into the forms of Dream Champ Tournament though, that we were able to stumble across something a little bit more differently when it comes to boss fights itself. So there we go, after dealing with several hits on him, then the boss fight is basically done. And hopefully we get ourselves our proper third element, despite the fact that we somehow missed one due to the forms of Lorana, just managed to able to get the previous element, so I must say, well done, well done. All of you. No, is that your demonimation in particular that impressed me? And results are what matter in this world. We Mayamiarans are indecisive people, but doubt is a part of us all that we can deny. But if you can accept doubt and move forward, everything else will eventually fall into peace or place. Sorry for the little bit of a dialogue error, so I do apologize for that. Take the element. Thank you very much. Alright, so we'll activate that, and sure enough, we're able to get ourselves, what else? Another element. So I believe, generally speaking, despite we skipped over the third element, but at the very least we were able to stumble across the, well, the fourth element. Well, usually we've already collected 3 so far, so, Anyways, so let's go ahead and save our game here, and well, I think the next thing we can go into now is the fact that we can probably head back over to that particular island. Well, I would say for the final time, because, well, we'll point out whenever we're able to continue things on with the game, so either way though. And yeah, forgive me about the fact that my dialogue speech doesn't exactly all go all that well for this point today, because I blame on my sore throat today, so yeah, I can able to actually just try to cope with the most unfortunate thing that's been happening today, so anyway, now all the elements have been gathered. Except for the one Lorana got away with. Leave it to us, we get it back. Don't be so hasty. First, show me the elements you have in hand. Let's see. That makes 4. Well, we've already collected 3, so... Huh? Hey. Hold it, pal. You don't smell like Baguji. Well, you don't say. Oh my god, it's plot twist! Lorana. Looks like Bagja was out running a herd. How convenient. Yes. What? He wasn't here? Catch. And now, my victory is complete. What the? Now, I have all of them. Now, I'll make them pay with tranquility, joy, discord, and indecision. The ones who abandoned me in this world. The ones who abandoned me in this world. I'll make them all pay. Lorana! Oh no. Now what do we do? It's odd how Baguji just vanished. Maybe we should go and see, well, the High Apprentice. Right. Whoa! Oh no. What was that? The chaos. Come on, we better hurry. So yeah, as I said before, is the fact that that will actually be the final time we're going to be experiencing that island, because, well, turns out Lorana just somehow managed to able to disguise him. So yeah, that seems a little bit more of a plot twist going on right there. After all, that she managed to get away with all 4 elements throughout. So, in this case, let's head over back onto this familiar level ever since the very beginning of the game, except now that everything else is a little bit more, well, darker than the forms of how it does on the Fresh Wound, for the sake of the forms of the first time around we experienced this stage. So, anyway, a few things I want to explain for this point today is the fact that today's day is, of course, the 12th of November today, in this case in 2021 today. So as a result, though, that in addition that Sonic Colors on the Wii is now officially 11 years old, at least specifically the original version of the game, but also we got ourselves the special event coming up today, and that's what appears to be the Disney Plus Day, which meaning about the fact that it will actually, in addition to able to containing some more content for Disney Plus, but also that I believe the actual service has been out for about 2 years ago now, which I'm pretty certain that will be the case. But, yeah, I can't believe that the Disney Plus service has now been up for 2 years now, ever since in 2019. Well, specifically in America, whilst in the forms of in my country in the United Kingdom, that we have to wait for a little while until 2020, so... Whoa, what the? Klonoa, over here. What happened? You think the chaos? Probably. The air around the statues is breathable. If we dash from statue to statue, we should make it to the temple, at least I hope we can. So we'll need to stop at each one. The earthquakes changed the path to the temple. I hope we can still get there. Don't worry, we'll be okay. Let's go. The air isn't bothering me. Must be real inconvenience, your guys though. So anyways, the actual main differences this time around compared to the forms of the first time around we experienced this stage is that, as you can see, we got ourselves a meter on the top. Meaning about the fact that we have to rely on the forms of a, well, let's just say an air meter of any sort. Which, it does feel very similar to the forms of how it does it on certain 3D Mario games, ranging from Super Mario 64 and Sunshine and Galaxy 2, and even Super Mario Odyssey as a matter of fact. That, except the fact that we don't usually just go underwater because, well, just like Sonic the Hedgehog, the Klonoa does not like water at all. Like, he cannot swim, just like Sonic does. So, because kind of think about it, that he looks almost exactly similar to Sonic the Hedgehog, except the fact that he can't perform a spin dash or anything. So, no, because usually, relatively speaking, that once your air meter is almost about to drain, that in order able to actually gain some air back, is the fact that you have to stumble across those glowing statues until you're able to actually just to regenerate your air meter, because as soon as it just starts depleting itself, basically when it goes like completely empty with the actual breathing meter, basically you die instantly. So because of that though, if I kind of think about it, it's also kind of similar to me when it comes to the actual structure like this, ever since in Dreaming Forms of well, it's hard to explain because I know it's been 2 days ago since I actually last played this, because, well, apart from the fact that it's now been uploaded on this Friday in general, so no delays on it so far, so that's a good thing, I suppose, especially noticeable about the fact that, well, hopefully we can get this Let's Play done before, possibly by the end of this month in November, if depending on the forms of some, stimulations will be happening, such as, of course, you know, uploading schedules alike and all that stuff, which originally, that back in during the course of October or the beginning of November, we were originally going to be able to try to arrange Mario vs. Donkey Kong for the sake of Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays potentially, and Klonoa 2 Lunatea's Veil for Tuesdays and Thursdays to make things a little bit more, well, makes it a little bit sense because of the forms of the game's length, as a matter of fact. Well, turns out is the fact that we somehow managed to able to switch things up a bit, because I just have no idea that we ended up on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays uploading schedules for Klonoa 2, whilst compared to Mario vs. Donkey Kong, it will be specifically for, well, Tuesdays and Thursdays as a matter of fact, which still I have no problems with that particular uploading schedules as of late, so which I absolutely have no idea what I'm saying for this point right now, but anyway, so let's go ahead and do a double jump here, so just in case we'll be safe as it is, so yeah, and also another thing is kind of bothering me at this point today is the fact that I felt a little bit coldy today, so yeah, forgive me about the fact that in addition to my voice sounds a little bit weird for this point, but also is the fact that I do apologize with the forms of the actual, you know, dialogue reading can get a little bit muffled up at points, especially because, well, I think relatively speaking it's just the fact that I'm hoping we can able to get this game done until sometime now. Well, at least for the most part anyway. So, because obviously that, I believe Jewel is going to be going back on to Mario Party 6 and doing at some point in this weekend. So hopefully she will be able to show off the mic mode, and especially noticeable until next weekend that it will be the final video for the sake of Mario Party 6, and then after that we'll probably take a break on the series until the beginning of 2022 once we tackle for Mario Party 7 and Mario Party 8, and of course we can never forget Mario Party Superstars on the Nintendo Switch. So yeah, that should be exciting for you know, for next year as a matter of fact, but we still have to rearrange some of the actual Let's Plays in the future though for 2022, but we'll still try to figure this out until whenever we get into that year, so... Okay, there we go, that's what we're supposed to do here. Because obviously if you get eaten by that particular creepy monster on that particular hole over there, that sometimes you're able to respawn back into where you're able to get to the safe spot, so... yeah, that's something worth knowing for the sake of time. So, anyways, let's take down this little masked shield for one of those giant-like enemies and stuff like that. So that way we can able to stun him for a moment, to use him as a platform, so that way we can able to reach higher ledges and stuff like that. So, yeah, that should be part of the job done. So, yeah, anyway, let's just go ahead and continue things on here. So, yeah, there's not much else to say about, apart from the fact that, wow, that I felt a little bit slightly coldy today. So, hopefully by that time until likely next Monday, and especially noticeable on next Wednesday and Friday potentially, that we can probably able to actually feel a little bit more better. So, which I'm hoping I can able to just have some rest once I've finished recording session on this. So, that'll be my part of the plan after all. So, anyways, let's go ahead and just get up there just to get some more crystals and stuff like that. Well, apart from the fact that it just gives you an extra one up in case if you're curious. So, okay, so I don't think we can able to reach up into that particular higher spot up there, but at least we do need that particular enemy to just try to get up there. So hopefully we would be able to just do that. And also, another thing that's worth noting for is the fact that, I believe recently that Maxi did manage to able to play Mario vs. Donkey Kong on the Game Boy Advance cartridge version on his own time, and recently he's now finally able to actually just do 100% everything in Mario vs. Donkey Kong for the Game Boy Advance, which, after all though, he did have a really enjoyable time during the forms of the original cartridge version. So as a result though, that's the perfect example of why that back in the day in 2015, that despite the fact that we haven't got that much views back then, whilst in the forms of this year this time around though, I'm presuming the amount of view counts is actually slightly higher in comparison to back in 2015 to 16. Well, this is mainly obvious because of how the fact that unlike in those 2 years, back in the day in 2015 and 16, that we couldn't be bothered able to actually show off everything, including all the actual stars needs to be collected, and same applies to the forms of all the expert levels and stuff like that. Whilst in this year so far, it's actually gone alright and stuff like that. Well, apart from a couple of death situations, but it knows where it stands, so... Anyway, so we still need able to actually use the enemies to try to knock that particular little hand over there. So, in fact, how do you able to do this again? Oh wait, we have to use those enemies again. So, here's the thing, we need to do that and act out pretty fast until you're able to get to this point right there. And we do need to aim exactly right there. And you have to be very quick though, because every time you step onto these little like polygon platforms, as you can tell, that are very similar to the forms of Klonoa Daughter Phantom Mile. That basically is the fact that if you step on that particular platform for too long, basically that you would be able to actually fall off and all that stuff and just die in the process, especially how bottomless pits comes into play. So anyway, so we got all of the pieces of the doll that we can able to rescue for once we finish this level first. So yeah, and I believe once we approach onto that particular temple, then the end of the level is just right there. So I see. So she calls herself Lorana now. High Princesses, you're not saying that. Well, that Lorana is... Yes, I fear it's true. She was a princess we once knew as Leo. Apprentice? She's a pestress? Leo too? Was once a motive at this temple, but one day during her training... Oh, we see the backstory? How long must I continue this useless training? You mustn't try to rush things. You can't accept to attain peace in the world with a hasty soul. Yes. Fine. Then I'll find my own means for achieving power. Surely the gods will recognize me then. Leo. Yes, I'll show them all. My power will extend that of the gods. Those were Leo's last words before she left, and there was nothing we could do. In her haste to gain power, she lost sight of the true calling of apprentice. High Princess, the fifth bell. It has appeared. It appeared? Go now, Lolo and Klonoa. You must contain this terrible power that Lorana has unleashed. High Princess. Come on, Lolo. We'll do it together. Let's go then, Klonoa. Alright, here we come. So, yeah, it turns out that Lorana just managed to able to found the fifth bell after all. So, yeah, it turns out that we do need to go back onto the previous level again. Well, to be more specifically, the very first stage in the whole entire game, except the fact that, well, it's gonna have a different level name. So, like, for instance, we're gonna be going back in there. So, yeah, we're going back onto Sea of Tears. Well, usually it's gonna call it Dark Sea of Tears. So, hopefully, we'll try to able to get to the fifth bell before Lurana does. So hopefully we should be able to actually just try to obtain that somehow. So yeah, back onto that level again, which I have no idea why I keep on repeating things like this recently. Well, apart from the fact that, well, aside from the forms of the Disney Plus Day, which usually happens today, but aside from anything else I would like to discuss, unfortunately there's not much else I can talk about, apart from the fact that, well, apart from the forms of the Canadian guy on the actual YouTube channel that I suppose I forgot to mention, is the fact that apparently that, well, let's just say something related to, sadly, is going to be involved surrounding the forms of the most unfortunate news for the likes of both Spyro the Dragon, along with Crash Bandicoot, two of the most iconic PlayStation mascots of all time, well, usually for the sake of continuing making games and stuff like that. Somehow they're going to be able to be delayed until specifically not just for 2022, well, most of the time, but mainly 2023. Mainly because of the forms of some complications that's been happening for the sake of the Blizzard company. So as a result though, I just have no words to say, because even then though, the last thing we've heard about the forms of Spyro the Dragon was actually the 3 remake games into this one compilation game called Spyro United Trilogy and stuff like that. And that was about it. Oh, and also the actual playable character for the sake of Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. And the last we've heard about Crash Bandicoot, speaking of which, is the actual ports of, you know, Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, both on the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, along with Series S and PC, and of course the Nintendo Switch ports. And aside from that, that's pretty much as far as we've ever heard of it ever since. So, because yeah, they keep on teasing the forms of the new game called, you know, Wumpa League and stuff, or Wumpa League, or something like that. So as a result though, that we still keep on hearing about the forms of teasing the game, but for some reason they just didn't seem able to show the game up yet. So as a result though, I get the horrible feeling about the fact that that game will be delayed a lot further, mainly due to the fact that in addition to the forms of that, well, I'm not gonna mention about that stupid little... Okay. I'm sorry, it's just, I just still despise that little C word again. But anyway, enough about that, but also with a lot of, like, employees to manage to able to somehow left, which, it's kind of sad, honestly, because I would like to see some, more, stuff that usually beholds in itself, and I have no idea why I just died right there. But, luckily, we got the checkpoint just right, near about, so, anyways, let's toss the enemy just over there. So yeah, the main emphasis on this level is the fact that, as you can tell, everything else is entirely in dark. So in order to able to see things properly, is the fact that, you know what these little fluty blue-like enemy objects that you can able to use as, you know, not only just trying to activate some of them for wind bullets as a projectile, but also for tossing the actual enemy projectiles at the forms of those weird blue-looking floating enemies and stuff like that. Which, that actually triggers the actual light of yourself, meaning that you can able to actually see the actual, the ground you onto, for the sake of likely not to able to, well, fall into bottomless pit and all that stuff. Although you can still see some portions of the caves, but ultimately speaking, the only emphasis of this level is the fact that you have to use the light in order to able to see the actual dark. So yeah, that totally makes it up for it. Especially noticeable about the fact that, well, you know, relatively speaking, it's just the fact that there's not much else to say about this level, apart from the fact that it might play out exactly similar, except with the actual different layout of the level. So, I suppose I should probably mention about this as well, that I was a bit worried at first. Let's just say, for example, that we've already managed able to win through one of those levels previously. That normally you have to do like a one singular playthrough of certain stages. Turns out they can able to actually reselect the forms of 2 alternate versions of certain stages at any point. So I'm fine with that, especially noticeable that if you imagine if you accidentally miss something, ranging by the forms of the dull parts and stuff like that, well, turns out you can able to actually replay the alternative versions of some of the stages anytime as you wish. So, yeah, no need for any forms of locked, you know, first playthroughs of certain things. So, yeah, it's a good thing, I suppose, especially noticeable that I could have seriously sworn to God, if that usually doesn't seem to able to be the case at all, then I'm gonna be able to actually erase my file and just try to start all over again with like a one singular playthrough and stuff like that. So, but anyway, so I believe we've almost nearly at the end of the level. It's just the fact that, well, before we're able to reach at the very end at the very least, we need to grab some more crystals to obtain, so that way we can able to actually, hopefully we can able to get an extra life in the process at some form or another. So, yeah, anyway, let's just go ahead and use these little pink-like objects there, so that way we can able to hop onto one thing and the other. So, and also performing some all sorts of tricks there. So I suppose you can also just manage to able to use the actual, well, let's just say in order to perform tricks, once you're able to get into the actual cannon shots, basically it's the fact that you're gonna have to able to use the bumper button, specifically L1, especially L2, and that way it'll triggers it. So, stop this, Lorana. And I get the feeling we're too late, aren't we? It's too late. With this power, I shall teach the world sorrow. What the? Stop! The Ark. Huh? They say that the Ark once traveled the world. I've been thinking, if there's a fifth bell, shouldn't there be a fifth kingdom as well? Then that Ark will connect this world to the fifth kingdom? You can't be serious. You wanna think happened if that occurs? we better go to. Follow that arc. So yes, now's our chance to able to go back into the arc again, except, well, we got able to actually just to stop Lunatea in the process. So, whew, fishing complete. And I think that since it goes off for quite long enough as this, so I think we should probably just save our game here. Now I do apologize once again of my dialogue text reading can be a bit difficult to describe because as a result I still felt a little bit rough today. So but anyway, so suffice to tell you, and well, I think we should probably end things up here. So join me next time for more of Let's Play of Klonoa 2, Lunatea's Veil. That is the fact that we're going to be heading over to the next level, which is empty CFTS. So yeah, the water is all gone and everything. So I'll see you guys on Monday. Later, fellas.